it's Mike here. It's been a very busy week for me, but I am not tired because I may present you with my newest High Heels of Bitcoin episode. My charming interviewee today is Jessica Walker. And before we start, I remind you to follow Jessica's social media profiles. You can find them in the video description. And now, enjoy watching.
So my name's Jessica Walker. So I am head of media production here at Sigma and Malta AI and Blockchain Summit, based out of Malta, but I'm originally from the UK.
Yeah, all right, cool. So my first question is, how did your adventure start? How did you find out about Bitcoin, about blockchain? Someone introduced you, or you just found out?
It was a really interesting one. So I originally started working as a broadcast journalist for a Swiss financial television station. And I was based out of Eastern Europe and also Geneva. So I was in Geneva a lot, doing a lot of interviews with people that work for asset managers, people that were in the financial space. And after about a year, it got to about 2016, and people started to come to me and say, they were regular guests that I would interview month on month that were eventually saying, oh, actually, I've moved companies and I'm working for a new project. And I have some interviews from all the way back to February 2016, which I'm asking people, what is Bitcoin? What is blockchain? Why should people get involved with companies like Lika and Melonport that are still doing stuff in the space? And it feels like such a long time ago, but so much has changed since then. And I remember really not having an idea about the concept as a whole. It was completely new to me. And if I actually watch the videos back, I can see myself learning them while I'm interviewing people, which is a really cool thing to see. And I actually watched one back a few days ago and I was kind of embarrassed because it was back when I was first starting out doing video interviews. But it was really cool to watch a lot of people that would travel down from Zug, Switzerland, where so much of this blockchain space evolved. They would come to Geneva, they would do interviews with me. We had events with people like John Matonis that were doing really cool stuff in the space. And it gave me a great opportunity to learn people from a financial background moving over to cryptocurrency. So I think I was in the right place at the right time, and I fell in love with the concept and just wanted to learn more, and it just extended from there.
Yeah, I can say that 2016 for some people is like a Bitcoin ancient history because
Yeah.
most of them started when the last bubble collapsed or burst.
Mhm.
So I started myself in 2017. I heard about Bitcoin many years ago, but I don't know why I never took more interest in the Bitcoin. But you have
Mhm.
mentioned Sigma. What is Sigma? Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, so Sigma is an events company and it has one of the biggest iGaming conferences in the world. So they started a few years back by our CEO, Eman Pulis. And then he now does events which are also in AI and blockchain and also medical cannabis. And they really started in Malta. And since I've joined the team, I've witnessed them grow. And as of next year, we're going to have more of a presence in Asia, surrounding areas to the Philippines, where there is iGaming developments and blockchain developments that are happening, which are quite cool. So it is conferences that bring together thousands and thousands of people that are industry leaders um, across all of these verticals, and it gives them a chance to meet and catch up. And I first went to a AI and Blockchain Summit conference last November, and I completely fell in love with the summit. The fact that when you go, it's like seeing old school friends, people that you might speak to on the internet every so often, or people that you might have watched videos from online. The fact you get to see everyone in one roof and everyone is so accessible. You really watch businesses grow because people have met and collaborated at these events. And then from these events, great ideas have been discussed and great products have been brought to market. So it's cool to go to these things. I've always loved events. So the fact I get to work for an event company is a really exciting prospect for me.
Yeah, I think Malta Blockchain Summit is, I think, the most popular, the most famous
Yeah.
conference in Europe.
Hmm.
And but I wanted to ask you more about because you have mentioned Sigma and Metcon, yeah, it has something to do
Yes.
with cannabis, so it's not like it's something blockchain related, but it's a very popular topic these days.
Super popular, and especially in Malta, where they're working on regulation and legislation and also creating a legal framework surrounding this. I think what's cool is that when we look at iGaming, it's a great use case for crypto and crypto tokens, and also some aspects of it on the blockchain, but also blockchain, you can use blockchain applications for medical cannabis as well, from traceability to kind of hardware tracing of bringing products from production all the way through to market. So they all kind of interlink in some way, which I'm not sure if that was done intentionally by our CEO or if it's just how the Malta framework is panning out, but it certainly makes sense. So we have Malta Week, which is the first few days are the Medical Cannabis Summit, and then the last few days are the Blockchain Summit. So if you are looking to learn about both, you can come and attend both in 1 week, which is a lot of information to go through, but it should be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, the power of blockchain is that it connects many different technologies, like I don't know, financial system, AI, like you've mentioned, cannabis, gaming. I don't know, maybe even, of course, regulations, public registers, and things like that. It connects everything. You cannot store
Mhm.
everything on blockchain because it's stupid, but it's the future. I think I might say that it's the future, and it will be everywhere, and you cannot stop it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think it might be quite cool because I think a lot of people don't necessarily need to understand why blockchain works. They just need to understand that something is more seamless and easier than it was before. And it's like you were saying, you heard the word Bitcoin, but you didn't necessarily understand it because to sit down and really grasp the concept is quite difficult. But there's a time in everyone's life if they are in the space where it spoke to them at the right moment and they paid attention and understood and they were interested in some way, and that's kind of cool.
uh, I must say that the more I explore blockchain, I
Mhm.
say the more I know, the more I don't know. There was some saying of, I think it was Socrates or someone like that. That I know that I don't know anything. I don't know how it is in English.
Mhm.
But tell me more about Malta, because it's considered like blockchain hub, blockchain island.
Yeah, so I've lived here in Malta for 1 year now. So for anyone that doesn't know where Malta is a really tiny island between Sicily and also kind of surrounding Mediterranean, and it's tiny, but it's amazing. So Malta has the best sunsets I've ever experienced in my life, but you can drive from one side of the island to the other in about 45 minutes. As I was telling you, it's tiny. Um, but it's really cool and it makes it a great area for events because you land at the airport and you can get through security really fast, and within 20 to 30 minutes you're in your hotel. The weather is fantastic for a majority of the year, although it's kind of stormy today. um, it's hot most of the time as well, so for me from the UK this is amazing. um, and the government is really active in providing a hub for entrepreneurs and investors and people that are looking to make a difference. So Malta has launched legislative bills. I know during the November summit last year for the Malta AI and blockchain, the government actually implemented 3 bills to do with blockchain regulations and creating almost regulatory sandbox for artificial intelligence. And they announced that at the summit. And this is the only cryptocurrency summits that I've gone to where you see members of parliament, you see prime minister of the country attending the conference and opening it consistently each year. So it says a lot and it speaks volumes about how closely the government works with uh, companies and systems that are in place in a country. And I think if we're looking at adoption and things moving forward, you need to be based somewhere where the government is very pro what you're doing, and you can work with the regulators as opposed to fighting them. A lot of the time is put on innovation and other great things moving forward, which are producing something fantastic as opposed to working on combating and agreeing on certain things. So Malta is very pro these kind of things. If you are looking to come and you can come to an event and hear a prime minister speak about the work that they're doing, it's awesome. It's really cool.
The funny thing about UK is I was there.
Mhm.
I've been there like 3 or 4 times, and every time it was a sunny day. So, and people say that it's
Wow.
always raining in UK. So, what? Where is this rain? It was my question.
You You have got very lucky then, because every time I go back, it always rains something crazy. And I always go, oh, this is why I moved away. It reminds me now. I'm like, okay, it sinks in.
Yeah, all
But in
right.
Poland, you have the winters though, no?
Yeah, and especially in
The
northeastern
cold.
Poland, so it's like the strong winter for us is like minus 30 or even minus 40 degrees Celsius. So it's
Wow.
really cold. But the worst weather for me is when it's like -3 or -4, but where when there is a snow and there is all this humidity and you feel
Mm.
cold. When it's -10, it's not that bad. But I think you do you use English or Celsius or Fahrenheit in UK?
Celsius.
Ah, right. So
Yeah.
yeah, Americans
Hmm.
use Fahrenheit. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking about Malta, I think Malta wants to be world's leader of blockchain and crypto adoption. Well, in Poland, we are not so lucky, unfortunately.
How is it looking in Poland at the moment when it comes to blockchain and crypto?
To be honest, we are a medium-sized country. We have like almost 40 million of citizens, but our
Hmm.
government doesn't want to do any big changes. So we want to evolve. We want to start our own businesses. We even proposed self-regulation, but only we have achieved only two things: AML and taxes. Because I think it was 2 years ago. I was on the protest in the Ministry of Finance because
Hmm.
we had like our government wanted to tax every crypto transaction. It was so stupid. So now no one was paying taxes. Now it's like capital gains tax, but we still have no regulations. We cannot run ICOs or rather we don't know how to run ICOs, and we always fear that our government will say, "All right, that's not correct. You have to do it the other way, and then you have to pay all the fines." So it's not that good.
And that's interesting because Estonia, for example, has been doing quite a lot when it comes to kind of blockchain and cryptocurrency. And I know a lot of companies that have set up base in Estonia and registered their companies there. So it's interesting because they're quite close to each other.
Yes, of course. If our companies are not moving to Malta or Switzerland, they
Hmm.
are moving to Estonia, and I think Lithuania has better regulations than Poland. Even Belarusia has better regulations than Poland. So uh, all of our neighbors have better regulations. So it's sad, but it's true. But I wanted to ask you more about this Malta Blockchain Summit. Do you run it, or you
Hmm.
are just a participant?
So I'm the head of media production for the Malta Blockchain Summit. So it's run by our CEO, Erman Pulis, who has founded the event, and there's been 2 years of successful events now. And I am very new to the team. So I've been going to the events for a year, but I joined the actual team as working for the events about a month and a half ago. So there's a lot of exciting things to expect. I'm super excited because great speakers are set to come this year. We've got people like Anthony Pompliano and Tim Draper that will be joining us on the line. So I'll be on stage interviewing them, but also the audience can ask some questions to them. Because I think in this world where the audience want to interact, people can tweet into our account on Twitter and people can then ask questions that I'll be reading out and asking them on stage. So it'll be this really cool merger of two worlds from people that can't make the event but can watch the live stream, people that can be in the audience can also ask the questions, and people that want to watch the footage back can also watch it on our YouTube channel. So if you are in Europe or close by, there's still a few tickets available, but it's always great fun. There's a huge expo hall. There's set to be just under 10,000 delegates this year. So it is a big event. There's a lot to
Yeah,
see and there's a lot to do.
yeah, it's
But the
huge.
whole island just goes crazy because so many people come in from all over the world, and everyone has such a great energy because they've waited all year for this event and they're super excited to get networking and get involved. There's events each night. So it'll be fun. There won't be a lot of sleep. There'll be a lot of networking and a lot of activities, but it'll be really good fun.
So it's once a year, right?
It's twice a year actually.
Twice
So
a
we
year.
had the summit in May, yeah, which was the spring edition, and now we have the winter edition. And it's 2 days, so it's on the 7th and 8th of November. Have you
Or
ever gone to one of them before?
no,
No.
no. I think I might visit next year.
You should. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I will try. I know my colleagues are going to join this event this year,
Hmm.
and but I myself I will visit next year. I think this year I am traveling in Poland mostly. I've never been
Nice.
to foreign crypto conference, but I have to change it now. Now that high heels of Bitcoin are international, I need to
Yes.
I need to move to other countries, and we are in we are in I think in Schengen zone, so we don't need any passports or things like that. Just your personal ID and. All right,
Exactly.
all right. Next question I want to ask you is
Mhm.
about crypto Twitter. Do you follow any specific persons? Are any of them your favorites? What do you think about crypto Twitter?
That is a good question. So I'm fairly new to crypto Twitter. I had an account for years that I never really used, and it got to about April of this year, and I was like, I really should start using it and posting some videos online because I've been doing video content about crypto and blockchain for so many years. And I've got involved and I've tried to start using it, and I've actually become a little bit addicted to it. I think it's amazing because crypto Twitter is around the clock. It is something that never sleeps. You've got people in the US, then you've got like Asia will wake up. It just is constantly going through. And it's where I've met amazing people. I've met people at conferences maybe that then have I keep up to date with on Twitter. I do have a few favorites, and they're mostly people that I've interviewed, people that I've spoken to that then I can connect with on Twitter and follow them. So Anthony Pompliano is a personal favorite of mine on Twitter. I think he has a really great financial background when it comes to understanding the financial markets and why cryptocurrency is a fantastic solution to the problem of modern day banking. So I think he's really informative, and I think he will bring a lot of people over to the crypto Twitter, maybe just from normal Twitter, which I think we need. There's a lot of accounts. There's so many. I think there's too many to list that I'm a fan of.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
Twitter is great social media, but sometimes it's hard to find information there because if you follow too many profiles, then it all becomes a mess. So I had to create special lists with my favorite accounts so I can find something useful there because sometimes I go and then before I start scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. But do you have any favorite crypto girls or crypto women? I should say on Twitter.
Yes, I do. So I have Kiana Daniels, who she wrote an idiot's guide to cryptocurrency investing. And I actually used to work with Kiana in News BTC, and we would both provide video content from our own separate studios. So we never got to meet in person. But as soon as I started using Twitter, I was able to reach out to Kiana and say that I've been watching her videos for a while and got to interview her. So Kiana Daniels is great. She's a favorite. Crypto Wendy as well. I'm worried I'm going to leave some of them out. There's a lot of women in the
Yeah.
space, and I think there is a real sense of unity because there's a lot of people and women that are in the same situation that they love talking about what they do and how they're involved, and they bring a little bit of sass, a little bit of color into the industry. Crypto Sarah as well. So there's a lot of cool people in the space. Crypto Heidi from Crypto Tips YouTube. Is also coming to our event in November and filming some content with us. So there's a lot of people that I've been following in the space, men and women, but the women in Twitter are definitely very colorful and giving the women in blockchain a very good name.
Yeah, the reason is I ask is before I always try to get more interviews, so so
Yeah,
I always I ask my.
Kiana.
All right, so I will ask you to send
Mhm,
me her profile on Twitter later. All right,
I will.
so let's move on the next question about other social media. I think you post a lot on Instagram, right?
I I post a little bit on Instagram. So I like Instagram just because I think it's really easy for me. I've lived in a few different places in the world, and my phone is always so busy. And because I do work in a TV studio set, on the weekends I like to just not use my phone. I like to just kind of put it away. So it's great for my family and friends to see what I'm doing and where I am in the world, and they can keep up to date. I like LinkedIn too. I think LinkedIn's really cool.
Yeah.
Instagram is very colorful. It's nice to see where everyone's traveling and get some of their travel photos. I have some friends that live in some very exotic locations. Articles like Medium as well. I think Medium has been really helpful for me when I'm writing scripts or looking into projects for the cryptocurrency space. Medium and Steam are also very good.
Yeah, I agree. Myself, I use Instagram not for crypto because I rarely put anything concerning crypto on my Instagram. It's basically some kind of food, my travels, my free time, things like that. For
Hmm.
crypto, I have YouTube, of course, and Twitter. All right. So you have mentioned conferences and, of course, Malta Blockchain Summit. Are there any other? Do you participate in any other, like global conference in the United States, or maybe in far no, in East Asia or things like that?
So I've never gone to a conference in the US or in Asia, and I really, really want to because they are two areas of the world that I feel like have so much going on and so many interesting developments. I know DevCon is on this week while we're
Yeah.
speaking, and it looks amazing. I'm keeping up to date on Twitter with what's going on at DevCon. These kind of things look really cool. So I have a long list of conferences that I've loved and a long list of conferences that I am desperate to go to.
Yeah, it takes time, it takes money, so
Mhm.
you would travel around the world day by day to visit them all. So
If I could, that would be my dream for sure.
yeah, so it's like you are full time in crypto, right? It's not like that you have a day job and then you, it's crypto is your hobby.
So yeah, my full-time job is being a content creator for yeah, for crypto, also for iGaming and also for medical cannabis. But I do spend more of my time in crypto and blockchain just because I think the community is more active and there's so much to talk about. If you don't do a video for 3 or 4 days, you've missed out. A lot of stuff have happened and you have to scroll through. And I don't know if you've gone on vacation yet and you're trying to keep up to date with what you've missed in the 1 week you've not been on your computer. There's so much in this industry, which is it's super exciting. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, so that's not surprise and not a surprise that you are live on Malta because, like I
Hmm.
have mentioned before, it's a blockchain hub, and but I think Switzerland is doing pretty well too. You have mentioned Zug,
Yes, Doug. Yes.
Zag,
So it's
right? Yeah,
yeah. Switzerland's doing a lot, and I think Switzerland has such a strong banking name to it
yeah,
from beforehand. I think a lot of people will say that we need institutional investors to come into the space for the market to reach a certain level of maturity. And I think something that Switzerland has worked really actively to do is to get Swiss regulated or have a Swiss standard of regulations or onboarding of Swiss banks, really to create a little bit more security in the space, which is something that we hadn't necessarily seen. So I think Switzerland are doing quite a lot in this space. I think maybe they're not doing as much as they could, but that's the same with every country. I think every country's moving in their own way. But Switzerland has definitely had some amazing projects come out of it. Zug, as you said, is Crypto Valley, and it is doing fantastic things as well. And I was lucky enough to go to the World Economic Forum in Davos in Switzerland in January, and there was a whole street of crypto and blockchain projects. Consensus was there. There was really cool movements going forward, and I think Switzerland has definitely been a landing spot, and it's definitely helped elevate, especially around 2014 to 2016. These projects go from being just developers with a concept to moving to the next stage.
yeah, and it's also a very beautiful country. All those lakes and all
Yeah.
those all those mountains. I've never been
Hmm.
there, but I want to visit. And there is also in Europe there is also Liechtenstein. I think I have heard like 2 days ago that they have approved a usage of tokens in companies in
Hmm.
their businesses. So I think it's a great move
Yeah.
for our
Li-
community. But also
yeah.
there are some countries in the world like Bangladesh where crypto is illegal and you cannot use
Hmm.
it. But of course people use it. They don't give a damn. And there's also country like India. They cannot decide, I think, if they want to ban or they want to allow.
Hmm. Each week it seems to be slightly different. But I think a country like India is just so big that if for some reason India was to accept cryptocurrencies and there was to be a token that was used by the population, that would be a huge leap towards mass adoption. So I think they're really taking it very seriously, as they should. The beauty of countries like Malta and Liechtenstein is they're smaller, so they're great sandbox because they're not so huge that the government can have more control and more involvement in the work they're doing. But India, it's just an enormous country, so where to begin? And I think they are really thinking about it, so they should. People have mixed opinions, but I think it's better to understand what we're getting into. If I read somewhere that someone had tweeted out today that if there was, for example, a China coin and a Russia coin, all of these large tokens, what would that mean for the cryptocurrency space? And with such power, there has to be more of a sense of responsibility.
Yes, of course, I agree.
Hmm.
And besides that, China has, I think, is the second biggest country after Chinese. They have biggest population in the world, so
Hmm.
they must be reasonable. But I don't think they will ban cryptocurrencies. I think they will allow the usage of them because the revolution is here. If someone will miss it, then they will lose. So I think they must approve them. I always say that uh, even the worst regulations are better than no regulations, because when you have no regulations, you don't have to what to you don't know what to do, what you can do, what is allowed, what is not allowed, and then always you later pay fines because your government decides, all right, this is not legal, you have to pay this fine. So it's not good. But Malta is a great great island, because I know many of my colleagues moved their businesses there. For example, our biggest
Ah,
cryptocurrency exchange called BitBay moved to Malta because I think we can safely say that our government expelled them.
I actually was spending time with a team from BitBay last week at the at a Delta summit. So I know the guys from BitBay very well, and they're doing really good, and they seem to be kind of progressing, which is great to see.
Yes, yes, it's I think the first, the most known, and the biggest crypto exchange in Poland. Others are
Hmm.
catching up, and they are trying to to run their businesses in Poland, but it's very hard. They always say, "All right, we are prepared to move to another country if our government does some crazy stunts." So, so it's, but BitBay is there. I don't think they will ever return. It's sad, but it's it's the way it is.
And I think that's the thing with a lot of countries as well, is they need to create better regulations and a better landing space, because otherwise they are going to push companies away. And for
Yes.
smaller countries as well, they need to encourage more tech and blockchain projects to create a landing spot, because it might be beneficial to them in a few years' time.
Yes, I think the governments must realize that the entire world is not like one huge government, one huge country. We have different countries, different regulations, and some may try to use blockchain as their advantage. They want to do good regulations, so people will bring more money there, and they will have more taxes. So yeah. So it's like, of course, we have European Union, and they want to, but even in European Union, there are differences between countries.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's also the people were saying that maybe it was like demobilizing the UK, that it was in the European Union, and maybe now that it's left, it might move towards cryptocurrencies a bit more because it'll be on its own and not in the EU. So no one knows what will happen with Brexit, but maybe it's a a conspiracy that some may have, and we'll have to wait and see.
Right. Now you have mentioned Brexit, and I was going to ask you about it. What do you think about it? Do you think UK should leave EU, or they should stay?
I personally voted to remain in the European Union, and I am an expat. I've lived in Eastern Europe, I've lived in Latvia, I've lived in Switzerland, I've also lived now in Malta. So I love Europe. I've loved other countries. I have family members that have voted differently to me. But as the situation unfolds, maybe it'll be beneficial for the outcome of these kind of situations. So I'm not sure what will take place and what we'll see from the UK, but hopefully we'll see some exciting developments which make it more encouraging for crypto projects
Yeah.
and other areas like AI and these kind of developments.
To be honest, I am pro Brexit, because I think
Mhm.
EU is not going in the right direction. It's like it's becoming like a Soviet Union, I think, and people must make wake up, and this could be a good sign. So stop what you are doing, because we are not going in the right direction. But well, we'll see what happens, because it takes a lot of time, and I think
Yeah.
British cannot even decide if they want to leave or maybe they want to stay. Yeah, so there are a lot of jokes. So it's the year 2187, and Brexit still didn't happen. So like
We'll have to wait a few months, and if there is any developments, we can do a follow-up interview because I think right now that
yeah.
the situation is no one knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, right. All right. Next question. I think it's the standard one, because this blockchain world is full of men. There are not a lot of women in this world. So, what do you think about men? Have you ever been treated without respect? So, do men respect you? Do you have any bad experiences with men?
I think I've been very lucky that a lot of the time when I go to conferences, I have a camera crew with me. So I think people are always on their best behavior. I was saying this to a woman at a conference the other day that I think my magic power, and I actually haven't had any bad experiences. I've been incredibly uh, blessed with all the men and women I've met at conferences. They've all been a delight and very interesting to talk to. But maybe I have a microphone and that makes them all behave a little bit better because I have heard some difficult stories from women in the space. But actually, for me, coming from the financial industry and the financial sector and moving over to crypto and blockchain, I found that the crypto and blockchain space was significantly more respectful,
Yeah.
more encouraging to women, and there's never the queue in the restroom at a conference for women. Someone tweeted this out the other day, and I thought
Yeah, yeah.
that actually is true. It's the biggest benefit of being a woman in blockchain. But no, I've been really lucky. I have a really diverse team. I've worked in companies where I've been the only woman. Now it's 2019 and we're working for the AI Blockchain Summit. And if I look, because I'm in our office in a sound booth at the moment, but I'm looking out and I think it's about 50-50. So I think we're in this stage where there is an equal amount of men and women in this space. Things are changing. And I think the great thing about the blockchain and cryptocurrency space is because so much of it is online, you're subject to a lot less stereotyping or mistreatment, I think, because people don't necessarily know your race or your age or your gender. Um, so all of these things maybe aren't taken into consideration because a lot of it is this technology relationship and things are via a computer or laptop. So I think it's interesting. I've actually been very lucky with everyone I've met.
I always say that Bitcoin, or rather blockchain, doesn't care if you are a man, if you are a woman, if you are
Mhm.
fat or tall, or Martian or someone other Jedi Knight. You have to be good at what you do. If you are good, if you are confident, then it's okay. If you are not a confident person, if you do not have confidence of your abilities, then someone may use you. That's I think that's the basic truth.
Yeah, it's true. That's a really good point.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you about your life outside of crypto world, because I believe you have no crypto life. So what are your hobbies? What do you do in your free time when you say, all right, don't let's leave that phone, don't waste my time anymore. I have to
Let's
do
relax.
something else. Yeah.
So I love being outdoors because I film a lot of video content, which means that I've got the windows are blacked out and I'm staring at an artificial screen with lights pointing at me. So I love to be outdoors with no phone and just completely relaxed, peace and quiet of nature. I love being by the ocean. So Malta for me was a complete dream come true. The fact that you can watch sunset, and if you go over to my Twitter, you can actually see a sunset photo I took last week in Malta, and it's the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen. Um, I've had some amazing boat trips during summer, and we've just sailed around the Maltese island, and it's just super relaxing. I think these kind of days out were are my dream days, how to spend them. So being outdoors, relaxing. I'm really into yoga as well. So all of these things I find are very calming, and in the weekend, it's really important I do them so that when it comes back to Monday, I'm fully recharged and ready to go.
Yeah, right. You need free time to quiet yourself,
Hmm.
to recharge your batteries, and then you can fight on. All right, but one more question about it. You have mentioned gaming industry. Do you play computer games?
I actually don't. I was never into games and iGaming. I was never into kind of casinos or poker. And actually, I recently started maybe after the night a night out, going to the casino and having a little play in some of the slot machines. It's good fun. I've not been very successful, but it's quite a nice social thing to do. A lot of people get a lot of joy out of it and really enjoy. It's never been something that I would do in my spare time, but I'm open to learn. So if anyone's able to teach me how to play poker, I still don't know.
Yeah, right. As long as you treat it as fun, it should stay
Yeah.
fun because if you treat it too seriously, then it can lead you to all kinds of trouble, like money lost
Hmm.
or things like that. So casinos are fine, but
Yeah.
people must be very careful about it because it may turn into
Yeah.
addiction, and when it turns into addiction, then my friend who plays in casinos a lot tells me some basic truth, and it sounds like if you have like 100 bucks and you want to go a casino, then split it into 4 or 5 packages, play 4 or 5 games, no matter what the result, leave the place.
Yeah.
If you won, leave the place. If you have lost, then you have lost, leave the place. Unless you want to stay and drink a beer or something like that. Because if you win and you think you will continue to win, then you will lose all of your money.
And I think Malta's doing a lot when it comes to, because so many iGaming companies are based in Malta. They have a lot when it comes to responsible gaming and responsible gaming regulations, which didn't exist 5 or 10 years ago. So they're really concerned about having responsible gaming laws implemented and actions taken place, which I think is very important because if something's online, anyone has access to it. It's not like 10 years ago when land-based casinos you had to be over 18 to turn up and you had to get there. Now it's accessible 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week. So these kind of things I think are super important. As you said, responsible, it should be fun. And if it's not, at any point you get concerned, there's also a lot of websites as well. If you are concerned that you might be coming into some problems when it comes to gaming, I know Malta have set up a few helplines just to encourage people to use the gaming in the responsible way.
Yes, of course, I agree. But sometimes
Hmm.
people will try to do some conspiracy theories because they always say that casino is cheating, and I always say to them, casino doesn't have to cheat because I think it's called law of probability, and
Yeah.
if you win a lot, then this law says that you should lose. You don't have to lose, but you should lose, or rather, there's a big chance that you will lose. So if you win, live, and then and then be happy with that you have won. So and that, of course, as
Hmm.
you have mentioned, many people have problems with addictions and things like that. All right, one last question is what are your plans for the future? What do you want to do in, like, I don't know, 2 or 5 years?
That is a very good question. I'm still kind of working everything out. I think I'm 26 right now. I think the world is changing really quickly. There's a lot of interesting things happen. There's still so many countries that I have never gone to or never visited. I do have a dream that I would go traveling and that I would see different countries that have adopted cryptocurrencies in different ways and create a documentary style or a vlog. That would be the ideal goal, I think. So we'll have to wait and see if I can film and edit, and hopefully in a few years something might come out. But for now, I'm just enjoying going to events, filming interviews, and filming content. But the goal would be to travel more for sure.
Yeah, great. All right, I have came up with another question. I forgot to ask you,
Go on.
do you invest in Bitcoin or in other cryptocurrencies?
I do. I actually invest in quite a few cryptocurrencies. So Bitcoin is one of the main assets in my portfolio, but I invest in around 7 or 8 other tokens that I all, and a lot of the time I'll listen to people that are in the community. I think a lot of the market sentiment is driven by people and people's perception of projects. So for me, looking at different projects that people are talking about online and that has a strong community and that are releasing great things, I'm always open to hearing about new projects and diversifying my portfolio.
Yeah, the problem is that sometimes people see the projects as they want to see them, not as they really are. So
Yeah.
that's the main problem. It's sometimes it's becoming like a religion or something. You have invested in the project and you stay in this project no matter what happens. And then
Hmm.
you try to explain bad actions, no progress, and things like that. But I have invested in this project, so it must be great. I think it's. I think the psychology calls it. I don't remember how it calls it, but that you protect your own decisions. So if you made a decision, you will believe that it's the only decision you should make, and you will protect it. You will you will fight for it.
Hmm.
So it happens to crypto projects. You should visit Poland someday.
I actually have never gone to Poland, which is crazy because Poland and Latvia are so close to each
Yeah.
other, and I lived there for 4 years. But I can't believe I've never gone to Poland. I would love to. If there's ever a conference in Poland, you'll have to let me know so I can come by and check it out.
I think there are two big conferences coming. One of
Hmm.
them is called Isle of Crypto, and it will be like 2 days in Poland. It will be in Warsaw. I think it's the next March. So it's a couple of months, yeah, still. And the other one, it's not exactly only crypto. It's called InvestCAFs, and this is it's big conference in Krakow, and then there are a lot of different banks and crypto and financials and things like that. So it's really huge. I think it's one of the biggest conferences in Poland, and crypto is a part of them. So I was there this year, this March,
Hmm.
first time in my life, and it's really really great. And of course, if you ever wanted to visit Poland, I have been running High Heels of Bitcoin panel. I have had like 4 girls speaking, and I was running this. So if you want to visit, let me know. So I can invite you to this discussion. So it would be great.
That would be amazing. I would definitely take you up on that offer. You'll have to let me know because I would love to come.
As soon as I will find out when will it be, I will let you know. So so feel invited.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for agreeing to this interview. I think it was great. And just let's say goodbye to our audience.
Thank you so much. It was great to talk to you all. So thank you. And thank you for having me on the show. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
All right. I hope I will talk to you in the future. Or bye.
Thank you.